Learning fighting games as a complete beginner to the genre can be very intimidating. From not knowing where to start the process, what move to do, and even why you're doing it in the first place. Maybe a lot of you watching this feels like this is just too hard to understand, or this is going to be a waste of time, I should just quit now. If that's you, trust me, I've been there. I feel like more than not, there's a common misconception that fighting games are not worth because it's too hard to get into. But that's where I come in. My name's Konclusionz, Master Kimberly player in Street Fighter 6 and a complete beginner to fighting games for about 6 months now. And I'm giving you an inside look at what I've learned as the ultimate noob in fighting games to a master player within 2 to 3 months. All the knowledge I've gained so far is from deep, extensive research to understand what makes fighting games hard and the steps it takes to conquer them for myself. Something else that I have gained insight on is from people in the fighting game community like streamers, content creators, and pro players, and even Discord communities. So with that, I came up with 10 steps that can help guide you in your beginner journey of learning fighting games. So the first tip I have for you is choosing your game. There are numerous fighting games out there, each of its own mechanics, community, etc. But choose one that resonates with you instead of choosing one that's inherently popular. But if I was you, I would also choose a game that does have a good amount of people playing it. But there are a lot of games out there right now with good communities and good players playing it. Games like Street Fighter, Tekken, 2XKO. The next step I will say is, what controller should you play on? Now, there's inherently a lot of controversy between, what's the best controller and what controller should you be playing on? But in reality, the best controller is whichever controller that you either want to pay money for or you just have at home sitting around that you can play on the specific console or PC that you're playing on. So realistically, it doesn't really matter. If you have like a PS5 controller, play on that. If you have an arcade stick or you're investing in an arcade stick, then perfectly fine. There's no best controller. Me, myself, I play on a leverless controller, or people know it as like a hitbox style controller. I play on that. It's just more comfortable to me. So that's kind of what I play. The third tip, learn the basics of the game. So after you figured out what game you want to play, now it's kind of time to run through the tutorial. In fighting games, I do recommend either going through the tutorial or going into like the training room and learning the game. Now, there are specific games. Every game has its own mechanics. You start with understanding basic concepts like blocking, attacking, movement. Each game has its own set of controls and mechanics, like I just said. So spend time getting familiar with them and kind of understanding how each one has its role. The next tip, find your character. The character doesn't matter. Me, I'm a little bit different in where I say is I care, but I don't care. So a little bit about myself, I plan on wanting to compete within Street Fighter 6, so I'm taking a more competitive route within the game. If you're playing it just to have fun and you want to just play the game and get good at it, pick a character that you like. Whether it's visually, from a background standpoint, whatever it is, pick it for you, not just whether you think the character is the best character in the game or not. But if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine too. Every fighting game has a diverse roster of characters, each of their own playstyle. Experiment with different characters to find one that suits you best. And after you finally settle on a character, now it's time to also learn the character. You actually want to take some time to play around with the moves, understanding what your character does. Each character has its own playstyle, so what is your playstyle of the character and what are they meant to do in the game? After you do that, we go on to our next tip, which is practicing your execution, and a little extra tip I have on numpad notation. Execution is key in fighting games. Spending time in training mode, practicing hitting your character's attack buttons, combos, special moves, and techniques until they become second nature is very important. With that comes learning how to understand notation language and numpad notation. Now, in fighting games, there is abbreviations and terms where it is called quarter circle forward or quarter circle back. A lot of people sometimes, if they do guides, they won't they won't say those words. They'll kind of use numpad notation if you're talking to them. Now, there are games like Tekken where the numbers correlate with the punch buttons or the attack buttons, and that's a little bit different, but it's very easy to translate because that's the only game where you'll really see that kind of translate in a different way. The next thing I would say is learning fighting game terminology. That's going to be the barrier that actually enters you into the fighting game world. Because if you don't understand what these terms mean, then it's going to be very, very hard, and it's going to be very, very difficult to understand. Now, there is a website that allows you to go through the game that you're playing, and it gives you literally like a dictionary of all the terms used within that genre or that title of fighting game. Now, if you guys want access to that, I will leave that in the description below. Tip number 7, play the game and understand the frame data. Frame data is kind of like the DNA of fighting games. It tells you how fast moves are, their recovery time, and a lot more. Understanding frame data can give you a significant advantage in matches and when you play against your friends, because you want to be able to at least know when you can or cannot hit your attack buttons. The next tip is watch and learn. Especially if you're watching high-level gameplay videos, there's a lot of accounts on YouTube that post high-level videos of, you know, your favorite character, or even if it's a pro player or a really high-level player that you like. Most likely you'll find them on YouTube. Pay attention to their strategies, decision making, and execution, because execution is a big thing in fighting games. You don't want to, drop moves, combos, things that can win you the game, right? Learn what they do in the situations that you struggle with, because when you figure out, oh, I could have done something differently here, it's a lot better than not knowing at all. Next tip I have, number 9, is join a community. Now, I do have a Discord of my own. I have a fighting game community that I just kind of started. It's not just for fighting games. It's literally my community. I want is for everybody, anybody who's anime, sports, shooter games, fighting games. But I definitely have room for everybody. So if you want to, come join our community. I'll keep it down in the description below. It's the Wolfpack. We're a family there. Come join. Come meet, talk to some people, and let's just have a good old time. So it's brand new. If you know friends who want to join, send the link to them, and let's build a community together. But fighting games have a vibrant community, both online and offline. You can join the forums, Discords, like I said, or there are what they call locals, local tournaments, local areas that you can play fighting games at. To connect with other players. And number 10, develop a strong mental state. Now, I left this at number 10 because of the fact that I don't want you guys to get discouraged. Losing is a part of the learning process in fighting games. Instead of getting discouraged, view your losses as an opportunity to identify weaknesses in your game plan and improve. Progress in fighting games takes time and dedication. If you're not willing to put time into it, it's just not going to happen. Even if it's a little bit of time, even if it's 30 minutes a day, 1 hour a day, you're just going to get better from that in the long run. I did have one more tip because this to me is the most important of all of them. So it's kind of, think of it as like a little extra flavor before you guys leave. Have fun. If you don't have fun, the game's not worth playing at all. Because if you don't have fun, if you don't enjoy the process of not being good and then enjoying the growth, it's just not going to be beneficial to you at all. The satisfaction of executing your combos and the excitement of close matches, because that's what it's about. Find friends, find like-minded individuals who you want to train with, who you want to play with. There, like I said, there's Discord communities, there's streamers, you can talk to people in their chat. To me, that's the best way to learn. So trust me, I've done all those things myself. I had to kind of get out of my comfort zone if I really wanted to achieve this goal that I so strongly wanted. So trust me, all the things that I'm telling you are things that I did myself, but I didn't know the best way to kind of put that into words when I did it. And I had to kind of look everywhere else and under these rocks and crevices to even find these basic answers. And that's why I kind of created this video, is so for people who want to actually learn, take the time to learn and want to get good, now you have a basic understanding of what it takes to just get into the fighting game community. Now, if you did find this information helpful, consider dropping a comment of what game you're playing to start your fighting game journey, and subscribe to the channel. It really motivates me to make more videos like this so that I can educate you guys on what I've learned and kind of give you guys insight on, the journey that I'm taking as well. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.